This segment is sponsored by Corebridge Financial. Gain access to a comprehensive life insurance product portfolio, actionable insights, and proven tools to help you deliver solutions for every stage of life. From one of the largest and most established U.S. life insurance providers. Visit CorebridgeFinancial.com.
Our first segment for Off the Page, Episode 1, is with a friend of mine, Todd Villeneuve, Managing Partner for IFC National Marketing, right here in the Twin Cities. Todd, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you, Chuck. I appreciate the invite.
He wrote an article for the January-February edition of Aspire magazine entitled, How Clients Can Achieve Lifelong Financial Health. And I found it to be very interesting. You really go into a lot of detail about the 3 steps that you take as an advisor to deal with your clients. Let's talk about the first step in your list there was about knowing your clients. I think that's so important.
Right. Well, I've been doing this a little over 35 years, and it's I found that you kind of have an arc in this industry from your natural market. And if you're starting when you're 20 nothing or 30 nothing, but the idea is that you need to start to learn what are the products and what are the concerns of those clients that you have when they're in their 20s. And then when they get to the 30s, they go from pre-kids and maybe just looking at mortgage protection to then maybe having a first couple of kids, and now they're worried about their children being funded for college and those type of things.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And along the way, you're going to tailor the solutions to all those life stages. And in the article, you talked about how cross-selling fits into that as well.
Yeah, we work with nearly 4,000 agents across the United States, and a lot of them are Medicare agents. And this year, Medicare constriction on commissions has really made a lot of people that used to have blinders and kind of a one-trick wonder to start to look at the whole portfolio that's available to them. Either they start to move their knowledge base up, or they need to partner with a group of professionals that they can help and either learn side by side, or if they work with an IMO like ours that has a concierge division that will teach you how to fish or fish for you. But you have to maximize that knowledge base to at least know what's coming up for your clients, and then know that there's the whole portfolio of products to help kind of take that risk away, and also then help the investment side.
The third step that is, I think, a really important one is focusing on building a legacy for your clients.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important as you talk about that arc and getting to know your clients is that you're asking the questions about what do they want to do with their money, or what do they want to have for their legacy. And you might want to have that conversation already at 45. Mm-hmm. We find that when people start to talk about legacies, they start to look at moving stagnant money to be able to create a bigger bang for their dollar kind of down the line, be it for their children, for their grandchildren, or their church, but it definitely gives back and creates a legacy.
What are some real life examples that you've dealt with where that cross-selling or just asking the questions and offering the solutions has made sense?
Yeah, I found that actually my largest trainer, or the thing that really hit hard for me, was that I didn't ask about life insurance. Mm-hmm. I was a multi-liner. I was with it was my uncle-in-law, I guess you would call him, my wife's uncle, and we had just insured his entire farm. And then I knew I was supposed to ask that question. I didn't have a fact finder in front of me. I didn't have a tablet, and I didn't have anything to prompt me. But to be honest, I probably was scared to ask that mm-hmm. question, because he was this big farm dude, and I didn't ask it, and 6 months later he contracted cancer and he died 2 years after that.
That's unbelievable, yeah.
So we do agent training, we do it all the time, and I'm like, ask them for a fact. Mm-hmm. Do they know that their life insurance they're paying for today will provide them their death benefit they need tomorrow? And I teach every class I can that question.
And just have the conversation. They don't have
Absolutely.
To say yes. And I love how you talked about, from a cross-selling standpoint too, that with working with an IMO, with working with other agents, you can really satisfy all those needs and cover that arc between 20s and 60s or whatever. You
can decide to be a student of the game, mm-hmm. but you have your natural market. You get to learn too, because mm-hmm. you need those products just as much as they do. Yeah. And the product needs are term insurance first and all the protection products, and then you start to get more into the investment stuff. Then you start to get more for the bigger uses of insurance and life insurance. If you're at your learning curve limit, then you need to find the professional and partner with to get him in there, so you can maximize the value of your book, There's commission splits. There's referral fees, but your relationships need to be maximized monetarily because that's what you're going to sell and scale up and be able to sell it down the road.
Yeah, kind of the beauty of being in the business as long as you have, and a lot of the advisors you support, they've seen all stages, right? And that's, I think, what your article talks about. Really great getting to talk with you, Todd. Thank you for being on our first episode, and look forward to having you back in the future.
Well, it's really my pleasure, Chuck. You're one of my favorites.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can find Todd's full article on page 20 of the January-February edition of Aspire magazine for 2026. Link in the description below.
That was a great interview with Todd Villeneuve, IFC Marketing, brought to us by Corebridge. And right now I get to interview Lisa Todd, the head of life distribution at Corebridge Financial. Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, Chuck. It's great to be part of the first launch of Off the Page.
Yeah, we're great to have you with us. And, Todd talked about all of the different, spanning the life of the whole client for the financial professional and how to have those conversations. And what would you add to his view?
Todd is absolutely correct. Working with a client in their 20s or 30s is something very different than working with a client who is thinking about, their retirement. What I would add here is that insurance solutions, especially those built around protection, can boost emotional confidence while at the same time strengthening client relationships.
Really good thoughts, Lisa. And, the emotional confidence subject is important. How does that factor into the financial professionals and the agents' relationship and conversation with their clients?
We think it's very simple. Emotional confidence turns into emotional trust. And when clients feel protected and that they have a trusting relationship with their financial professional, they're able to, remain calm. They're able to implement the solutions that have been presented to them. And in addition to that, they are more likely to then, spread the message to their family and friends and, potentially provide referrals to that trusted relationship that they have with their financial professional. And we are lucky enough to be able to support them in that effort. And so we view this as a privilege, and we are very appreciative of the opportunity to help them secure more financial futures for folks.
Great to talk with you today, and I really hope to have you back in the future. Thanks for being on Off the Page.
We appreciate it, Chuck. Congratulations once again on Off the Page.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.